So, ich glaube, es werden sich im Laufe des Webinars noch ein paar Teilnehmerinnen einwählen, aber ich würde vorschlagen, wir starten langsam. Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen zu unserem heutigen Webinar, das ganz im Zeichen der dynamischen IT-Landschaft des Westbalkans steht. Mein Name ist Lisa Maria Katolnik. Ich arbeite als EU-Projektmanagerin im Internationalisierungscenter Steiermark und ich freue mich, Sie durch die nächsten 2 Stunden zu führen. Wie manche von Ihnen vielleicht bereits wissen, setzt das ICS laufend Länderschwerpunkte, sogenannte Fokusprogramme. Und ich bin im ICS für die Koordinierung des noch aktuell bestehenden Fokusprogramms in den Westbalkanländern zuständig. Ziel ist es, die 6 dynamischen Märkte, Serbien, Bosnien und Herzegowina, Montenegro, Nordmazedonien, Albanien und den Kosovo näher zu beleuchten und Marktchancen für Sie auszuloten. Die folgende Grafik zeigt Ihnen, wo die thematischen Prioritäten unseres Westbalkan-Fokus liegen. Das heißt, wo wir einerseits großes Potenzial für und andererseits im Falle der ICT-Branche, die heute im Fokus stehen wird, großen Bedarf bei steirischen Unternehmen sehen. Heute widmen wir uns, wie gesagt, speziell letzterem Thema der IT-IKT-Branche. Zu Beginn ein paar wichtige Informationen für Sie. Wenn Sie Fragen haben, zögern Sie nicht, diese während der Vorträge jederzeit zu stellen. Sie können hierfür die Chat-Funktion nutzen oder sich natürlich auch gerne zu Wort melden. Zudem wird das Webinar auch aufgezeichnet und Sie erhalten im Nachhinein alle Präsentationen. Bevor wir starten, darf ich Ihnen unsere geladenen Experten vorstellen und diese ebenfalls sehr herzlich begrüßen. And for that reason, I will now switch to English so that everybody understands. So a warm welcome to Christoph Berns. He works with KP Advisory, is originally from Germany, but now based in Belgrade. He's an experienced finance professional with over 12 years of experience in finance and consulting. He has a proven track record in strategic advice, management consulting, corporate finance, and corporate development. And he is recognized for leadership in connecting diverse teams and implementing effective solutions across various European regions. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Darko Petrovski, a very warm welcome to you too. He has almost 30 years of business experience and holds a Master of Science and Master of Business Administration from the Faculty of Ljubljana. He's an accomplished author, speaker, and mentor, and founder of the talent business incubator Step Up in North Macedonia and the current president of the Macedonian HR Association. Welcome to you too, and thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Then we have with us Alexander Drekalovic. He is Business Development and an International Relations Manager at ICT Cortex, which is a Montenegrin cluster of ICT companies in charge of pursuing internationalization goals for cluster members. Welcome. And we can hear you on mute.
Thank you for having me today, and thank you for this introduction.
You're welcome. And last but not least, we have here with us Bojan Kudic. He holds a doctoral degree in applied economics, has over 15 years of work experience with small and medium-sized enterprises, expertise in access to finance, internationalization, digitalization, innovation, and IPR. And he has over 15 years of experience on EU projects with Horizon Europe, COSME, Erasmus+, and also Enterprise Europe Network, as we will hear later on. So, lieber Christoph, I will switch back to German. Wir sind schon ganz gespannt auf deinen Vortrag. Was macht denn den ICT-Sektor in Serbien so dynamisch? Und welche Trends zeichnen sich ab? Welche Chancen entstehen dadurch für steirische Firmen?
Ja, Lisa, nochmal vielen Dank für die Einladung, und freue mich natürlich sehr, hier zu sein. In der Tat machen wir jetzt die erste Session in Deutsch, aber ich glaube, allein die Kooperation ist ja zwangsläufig mehrsprachig, von daher können wir auch dann Englisch weitermachen. Also ich glaube, Industrialisierung an sich setzt ja auch eine Digitalisierung voraus. Das ist ein Thema, wo nicht nur große Unternehmen, sondern auch der Mittelstand ja, ran muss, wo er arbeiten muss. Und das Thema stockt natürlich, ob das in Deutschland, Österreich oder der Steiermark ist, hier und da doch erheblich. Und auf der anderen Seite haben wir den Westbalkan, wo wir sehr viele ja, Unternehmen im Bereich IT-Services haben und wo dieser Sektor sehr, sehr stark gewachsen ist in den letzten Jahren, wo sehr, sehr viele gute Sachen passiert sind. Und das ist ein Thema, was wir heute, glaube ich, vorstellen wollen, was wir näher bringen wollen und wo wir Interesse wecken wollen. Und am Ende des Tages natürlich hoffen, dass wir hier eine Verbindung zwischen den Unternehmen der Steiermark und Unternehmen im Westbalkan herstellen. Ich glaube, das ist jetzt ein guter Zeitpunkt, dass wir so langsam das Thema Richtung Serbien uns angucken. Ich teile dazu mal meinen Bildschirm und hoffe, dass das alles funktioniert. Lisa, kurzes Signal, passt? Wunderbar. In den kommenden Minuten würde ich mich dem Thema IT-Landschaft in Serbien widmen. Serbien ist natürlich der größte Markt im Westbalkan, ist sicherlich auch ja, sehr fortschrittlich, was IT und Innovationen anbetrifft. Bevor wir da einsteigen, noch 2, 3 Sätze zu dem, was wir machen. Du hast schon erwähnt, mein Hintergrund ist Unternehmensberatung und zusammen mit meinen Partnern haben wir hier eine Advisory Boutique. Wir machen natürlich klassisches Corporate Finance, also M&A-Beratung, also natürlich Managementberatung. Und da spezialisiere ich mich im Besonderen auf den Bereich Innovation und IT. Das heißt, wir haben natürlich in den letzten Jahren sehr viel zu tun gehabt, was ja, was IT anbetrifft, ob das Übernahmen waren, Wachstumsstrategien, aber auch einfach ja, das Advisory im Bereich Finance an sich. Und wir haben nicht nur die Beratung, wir machen auch Buchhaltung. Das heißt, wir helfen auch bei Neuansiedlungen, wenn es um ja, Steuerangelegenheiten geht. Und da komme ich im Laufe der Präsentation nochmal drauf zurück. Es gibt nämlich relativ viele Tax Incentives, die man sich angucken sollte, wenn man nicht nur den nächsten, sondern vielleicht auch den übernächsten Schritt plant, nämlich in Serbien oder in der Region sesshaft zu werden. So viel dazu. Vielleicht auch zur Einleitung ein paar Worte zur serbischen Wirtschaft. Mit knapp unter 7 Millionen Einwohnern ist Serbien immer noch das größte Land im Westbalkan, hat natürlich auch ein bisschen an Einwohnern verloren über die Jahre hinweg. Aber das wirtschaftliche Wachstum war sehr, sehr stark über die Jahre hinweg. Jetzt sind wir bei knapp über 60 Milliarden Euro Bruttoinlandsprodukt. Der Wachstumstrend ist eigentlich ungebremst und hat natürlich dazu geführt, dass auch die Arbeitslosigkeit deutlich gesunken ist. Für Ende 2023 wurde knapp unter 9% angegeben. Das ist natürlich eine enorme Verbesserung für das Land. Und ich glaube, dass wenn man hier mit Unternehmern spricht, merkt man auch, dass es eher schwieriger wird, Arbeitskräfte zu finden. Und diese vorgenannten positiven Effekte haben natürlich auch dazu geführt, dass das Durchschnittseinkommen gestiegen ist. Wir sind jetzt bei über 700 Euro im Durchschnitt, was das Nettogehalt betrifft. Warum sprechen wir über das Nettogehalt? Ich glaube, ganz allgemein in Regionen werden die Gehälter immer netto verhandelt. Das heißt, das ist ein ganz guter Referenzpunkt. Was hat denn die Wirtschaft wirklich vorangebracht in den letzten Jahren? Ich glaube, das waren vorrangig die Direktinvestitionen, die natürlich aus der EU kamen. Man kann sehen, dass das natürlich aus Deutschland, Italien, teilweise natürlich auch aus den anderen großen Wirtschaftsbereichen waren. Aber die sind natürlich eher in das produktive Gewerbe gegangen. Automotive, Landwirtschaft, Textilverarbeitung und so weiter. Da taucht IT noch nicht auf. Da komme ich aber gleich zu. Die Unternehmen, die sich hier in Serbien niedergelassen haben, die haben natürlich nach einer Kostenoptimierung gesucht, nach einer Diversifizierung ihrer Lieferkette, nach neuen Möglichkeiten, das natürlich aufzusetzen. Im Zuge von Corona war das natürlich wichtig. Das große Thema Nearshoring hat das alles dominiert. Aber die Erfahrungen sind extrem positiv. Das zeigt natürlich der anhaltende Trend und die Investitionen hier in Serbien. Und die Unternehmen bekommen natürlich ausgebildete Arbeitskräfte, die bekommen die Stabilität in der Lieferkette und es ist natürlich geografisch viel näher. Im Bereich IT zeichnet sich ein ähnliches Bild ab, aber es gibt andere Hintergründe. Also mittlerweile ist der Bereich IT sehr, sehr dominant und trägt deutlich zum Bruttoinlandsprodukt bei. Die Wachstumsraten sind eigentlich signifikant höher. Wir haben gesehen, dass Unternehmen im Schnitt mit über 33% pro Jahr gewachsen sind. Ich kenne Unternehmen und arbeite mit vielen, die hatten eigentlich in den letzten Jahren eine Verdopplung auf Jahresbasis. Das heißt, man muss das immer ein bisschen mit Vorsicht betrachten. Der Markt ist extrem gewachsen, gerade was Post-Corona auch das Jahr 2021, 2022 dann anbetrifft. Das hat natürlich auch in vielerlei Hinsicht Spuren hinterlassen und da komme ich gleich nochmal dazu. Die Zahlen sind alle so ein bisschen gerundet, aber ich glaube 3.500 Unternehmen im Bereich IT-Services ist eine ganze Menge. Da sind mindestens 50.000 Leute angestellt. Und wenn man die Zahlen mal überschlägt, sieht man, dass man bei, naja, knapp 15 Personen im Schnitt ist. Und ich glaube, das ist ein ganz guter Mittelwert, denn ich sehe, dass die meisten kleineren IT-Firmen, die spezialisiert sind, irgendwo zwischen 10 und 30 Leute haben. Es gibt natürlich auch die großen Unternehmen, die, sagen wir mal, nicht mehr als 100, sondern eher mehr als 1.000 und 2.000 Leute haben, die sich mittlerweile auch regional aufgestellt haben und die natürlich den Markt auch irgendwo verändern und beeinflussen. Und das natürlich auch als Folge von Direktinvestitionen in Serbien und in der Region, wo nämlich sehr viele internationale Firmen, die im Bereich IT-Development und Outsourcing tätig sind, sich hier auch eingekauft haben. Das heißt, was wir hier gesehen haben und was natürlich auch zu diesem Wachstum beiträgt, ist, dass große Firmen aus den USA oder aus Westeuropa hier systematisch Firmen aufgekauft haben, weil es eben in den vergangenen Jahren einfach darum ging, wo bekomme ich die Kapazitäten her? Wie kann ich meine Projekte, die ich habe mit großen Firmen, ob das ein Microsoft, ob das ein Oracle oder ob das andere dominante Firmen aus USA oder Europa sind, wie kann ich hier meine Services erbringen und habe ich im Grunde genügend Manpower, um das zu stemmen? Und das war sehr, sehr dominant, was nicht nur in Serbien, sondern ich glaube in der ganzen Region stattgefunden hat, dass eben diese kleineren Firmen auch aufgekauft wurden und dass der Markt konsolidiert wurde. Das war für die meisten lokalen Firmen nicht immer angenehm, weil auch viel Arbeitskräfte abgeworben wurden. Und es hat natürlich eine Preisspirale in Gang gesetzt, die ja eher nach oben ging und bis vor kurzem auch nicht wirklich aufzuhalten war. Was wir einfach hier im Markt beobachten, ist natürlich, dass die IT-Services grundsätzlich remote angeboten werden und da natürlich unabhängig auch von der Location des jeweiligen Nachfragenden ausgeführt werden können. Das heißt, die Unternehmen hier arbeiten ganz eng mit Unternehmen in Österreich, Deutschland, USA und so weiter zusammen und haben große Teams hier aufgebaut. Alles funktioniert remote und alles funktioniert sehr reibungsfrei. Das kann man, glaube ich, auch sagen. Der Talentpool ist ein sehr, sehr wichtiges Merkmal und ich glaube auch ein Alleinstellungsmerkmal für die Märkte im Westbalkan, natürlich auch für Serbien. Und es gibt neben der Qualität natürlich auch einen Kosteneffekt. IT-Unternehmen ganz allgemein fahren im Wesentlichen 3 Modelle. Entweder es ist ein Outsourcing, wo Services direkt nachgefragt werden. Das kann natürlich von einer Produktentwicklung, von einer Pilotphase bis hin zur dauerhaften Produkt- und Produktweiterentwicklung sein, über Industrien hinweg. Also das muss nicht nur jetzt Automotive sein, das ist ganz viel auch im Bereich Finanzdienstleistungen, Services, Online-Plattformen und so weiter. Ob das natürlich mit speziellen, sage ich mal, Komponenten dann verbunden wird, ob das jetzt ein Frontend, Backend, Mobile und so weiter ist, das findet da alles statt. Oder aber es ist eine Team Augmentation, wo ein Unternehmen in der Steiermark sagt, okay, ich habe schon ein bestehendes Team, brauche aber noch ganz spezielle Fachkräfte für den Bereich XY und diese werden dann im Grunde durch das lokale Unternehmen zur Verfügung gestellt und das Team wird erweitert. Oder aber dritte Möglichkeit ist, dass genau die Unternehmen sagen, ja, wir brauchen diese speziellen Teams, die sollen aber im Grunde nur sozusagen für uns arbeiten, sind nur für uns zuständig 100% der Zeit und werden sozusagen nur administrativ von Unternehmen vor Ort gemanagt. Sprich, Buchhaltung, Löhne und so weiter, dass eben die Unternehmen nicht sofort eine Dependance im lokalen Markt aufmachen müssen. Meine Erfahrung ist, dass die erste Outsourced Services dominant ist, weil es eben einfacher ist und flexibler ist, für ein Projekt die Fachkräfte und natürlich das ganze Know-how einzukaufen. Ich glaube, man kann sagen, dass die Services extrem gut sind. Es werden Weltklasse-Lösungen hier erarbeitet. Die Teams sind wirklich engagiert und die sind fähig, die Sachen umzusetzen. Wir erfahren immer wieder, dass die Unternehmen aus Europa oder aus den USA sagen, mit so einer guten Umsetzung hätte man nicht gerechnet. Das ist besser und schneller als das, was wir bisher hatten oder das, was wir selbst gemacht hatten oder aber natürlich auch das, was wir uns erwartet haben. Und ich glaube, was auch sehr wichtig ist, nicht nur, weil alle sehr, sehr gut Englisch sprechen, einige sprechen natürlich auch Deutsch, was natürlich hilft. Der Cultural Gap ist sehr gering. Das heißt, man kommt sehr gut miteinander aus, miteinander ins Gespräch und man weiß, was die andere Seite erwartet. Und ich glaube, das ist für eine Kooperation sehr, sehr wichtig. Ich hatte es schon angedeutet, in den letzten Jahren war der Markt sehr in Bewegung. Nach großen Wachstumsraten in vielen Bereichen kam es aber dann doch zu einer Anpassung. Es kam zu einem Downturn. Da gibt es viele makroökonomische Hintergründe, die dazu geführt haben. Aber was natürlich in diesen Momenten passiert, ist, dass einfach die großen Unternehmen anfangen, Ressourcen freizusetzen. Das führt natürlich dazu, dass auch die Services im Outsourcing angeboten haben, sehr schnell abgesägt werden. Das muss man so drastisch sagen. Und das hat natürlich auch Spuren hier auf den lokalen Märkten hinterlassen, weil zum einen die großen Firmen, die hergekommen sind, um Ressourcen einzukaufen und ihre Kapazitäten aufzubauen, diese auch sehr, sehr schnell wieder freigesetzt haben. Oder aber, dass eben Unternehmen, die Verträge hatten mit den großen oder größeren Firmen im Ausland, dass die Verträge gekündigt wurden und dass es auf einmal eben ein Überangebot an Kapazitäten gab. Für die Unternehmen, die sich im Portfolio, also sage ich mal, im Kundenportfolio gut aufgestellt hatten, da gibt es einige, die sich diversifiziert hatten über Industrien hinweg, über Geografien hinweg, die haben auf einmal die Möglichkeit gesehen, oder die haben sich erstmal bestätigt gefühlt, dass nicht immer nur das große Wachstum, sondern zumindest ein solides Wachstum belohnt wurde. Dass die Unternehmen, und da gibt es sehr viele Beispiele mit Kooperationen mit Österreich und Deutschland, dass die sehr, sehr stabil waren. Und dass vielleicht nicht jedes Mal um jeden Euro und Cent nachverhandelt werden musste, sondern dass die Relationships wirklich sehr, sehr stabil sind. Und eben das beidseitig auch zum ausgewogenen Verhältnis führt. Im Markt an sich hat das natürlich zu einer Normalisierung geführt, was natürlich die Gehälter und damit die Preiserwartungen betrifft. Und wie gesagt, ich glaube, durch die bestehenden Erfahrungen in den Kooperationen zwischen den Ländern und wenn man dann so ein bisschen tiefer geht und sagt, ja, wo haben jetzt die Unternehmen aus der Steiermark oder aus Österreich gute Erfahrungen gemacht, dann ist das schon das beste Marketing für Serbien und für den Westbalkan. Kurz noch ein paar Zahlen, weil es kommt ja immer wieder die Frage, naja, die Märkte sind ja relativ klein. Wie können die denn die Nachfrage überhaupt bewältigen? Und auch hier ist ein Trend feststellbar, dass IT als Studiengang extrem nachgefragt ist. Also ich glaube, von weniger als 3000 Studenten von vor 10 Jahren hat sich das doch deutlich vergrößert. Das sind pro Jahr mehr als 10.000 Studenten, die IT-Studiengänge anfangen, entweder an der Hochschule oder an Fachhochschulen. Und mehr als 5.000 Absolventen gibt es jedes Jahr. Die kommen natürlich aus den größeren Universitäten und Universitätsstädten Belgrad, Niš, Novi Sad. Es gibt natürlich auch viele Fachhochschulen und in vielen Städten werden diese Kurse angeboten. Was ich sehr, sehr schön und glaube ich, auch ein Alleinstellungsmerkmal Serbiens und des Westbalkans ist, dass Frauen in IT doch eine sehr große Rolle spielen, deutlich über EU-Durchschnitt. Also wir sind hier nahe bei 1/3. EU ist eher so bei um die 20%. Das heißt, auch hier ist ein sehr fortschrittliches Denken und Arbeiten schon vorhanden. Die Regierung in Serbien unterstützt die Innovation, unterstützt den Bereich IT sehr stark. Hier haben schon sehr viele Investitionen stattgefunden. Es gibt 4 Science und Technology Parks, die natürlich darauf abzielen, innovativen Unternehmen als auch kleineren Unternehmen im Bereich IT erstmal ein Sprungbrett zu bieten, eine Möglichkeit, sich zu positionieren. Das wird weiter ausgebaut. Es ist ein Bio4 Campus geplant in Belgrad, der den Bereich Bioinformatik, MedTech weiter voranbringen soll. Im Bereich AI tut sich sehr, sehr viel. Das ist ein großer Bereich hier zusammen mit Blockchain, wo ich glaube, Serbien und die Entwickler hier sehr, sehr viel schon zu bieten haben. Was ich sehr interessant finde, und das sollte man auch erwähnen, ist, dass IT oder Informatik in der Schule nicht nur als Fach behandelt wird, es wird sehr aktiv ins Schulcurriculum eingebaut, sodass ab der 7. Klasse wirklich ein Encoding und ein Lernen in diesem Bereich stattfindet. Und es gibt natürlich sehr, sehr viel Support darüber hinaus. Und abschließend, und hier schlage ich den Bogen zu dem zweiten Schritt, den ich angesprochen hatte, wenn Unternehmen sagen, okay, Kooperation ist am Anfang gut, aber wir wollen vielleicht auch selbst sesshaft werden in dem Markt und wollen vielleicht schauen, dass wir unser eigenes Outsourcing Center aufbauen oder unser eigenes Product Development. Das machen im Prinzip schon sehr, sehr viele Firmen, die hierher gekommen sind, auch sehr, sehr große Firmen, ob das Continental oder Rivian, Bosch und so weiter. Die haben mittlerweile riesen Departments, wo sie sehr gute IT-Ingenieure anstellen, um eben Product Development und Innovation voranzubringen. Auch hier gibt es sehr, sehr viele Incentives, sowohl für den Bereich Forschung und Entwicklung, wo zum Beispiel die Kosten doppelt in der Steuerbilanz abgezogen werden können. Ich kann im Detail dann nochmal gern darauf eingehen. Das sind Sachen, mit denen wir uns natürlich tagtäglich beschäftigen. Ganz kurz gesagt, es gibt einen riesen Blumenstrauß an Incentives, um einfach hier Unternehmen das schmackhaft zu machen, auch wirklich sesshaft zu werden. Und nochmal kurz darauf hingewiesen, die Steuersätze lokal und besonders in Serbien sind deutlich niedriger, wenn man da von einem Corporate Income Tax von 15% ausgeht. Also dieser wird dann im Endeffekt noch verringert. Und wie gesagt, stehe ich gern zu Fragen zur Verfügung und hoffe hier erstmal im Schnelldurchlauf so ein bisschen einen Abriss gegeben zu haben, wie stark und dominant doch der IT-Sektor in Serbien ist. Und Lisa, gebe zurück zu dir und bin für Fragen steht zur Verfügung.
Perfekt, danke dir, lieber Christoph. Das war schon sehr spannend, finde ich. Einige Chancen und Gelegenheiten für unsere Firmen vor Ort. Man sieht, dass die Branche wirklich boomt und sehr stark wächst, noch weiterhin, und dass die Weichen dafür auch schon sehr früh gelegt werden. Also vielen Dank dir schon mal. Wenn keine direkten Fragen, wenn es jetzt noch keine direkten Fragen gibt, dann würde ich an unseren nächsten Speaker weitergeben. Dear Darko, eine Frage. Schau, da kommt eine Frage hinein, Christoph. Wie hoch ist das durchschnittliche IT-Gehalt in Serbien?
Na, die Frage habe ich erwartet, die muss natürlich kommen. Es kommt darauf an, das ist die Standardantwort. Ich glaube, das kommt darauf an, ob man von einem Junior, Media oder Senior spricht und in welchem Bereich die natürlich unterwegs sind. Wir haben uns natürlich angeguckt, das reine Durchschnittsgehalt wird mit 2.500 Euro brutto angegeben. Das wären dann ungefähr 1.600 Euro netto. Aber wie gesagt, das ist ein Durchschnittsgehalt. Für Seniors muss immer mehr gezahlt werden und auch hier gibt es lokale Differenzen. Also nicht ist Durchschnittsgehalt immer noch unter Belgrad oder Novi Sad. Aber auch hier ist es durchaus ja, möglich, dass 3.500 netto gezahlt werden für Seniors. Also das kommt drauf an.
Super, danke. Also falls es keine weiteren Fragen gibt im Moment, dann übergebe ich jetzt gern an Darko. What is the IT sector in North Macedonia like? Are there similar trends and chances and developments? Please.
Danke sehr, Lisa. Vielen Dank noch einmal für diese Einladung. Ich kann auch wie Christoph auf Deutsch weitersprechen, aber wir haben uns vereinbart, dass wir unsere Präsentationen heute auf Englisch halten, so dass alle irgendwie auf gleichem Ebene mindestens von der Seite von den Präsenteuren sind. Ich werde kurz so I will switch now in English. This is probably better for everyone, and I will start my presentation talking about the dynamic environment that is present currently in the Macedonian IT sector. Can you see the presentation, please? Just short. Is it possible, Lisa?
Yes, it works.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Then I will go on with the brief insights of the Macedonian IT sector. But before I go into these details, I would just like to present myself in front of the audience today. I have to say that I have long time relationships with Austria. You can see some logos there that I have shown on the screen. First of all, I was kind of related and worked for the Austrian Economic Chamber. I was head of the Skopje office for 8 years, so it was from 98 to 2006, and then I switched to the also again Austrian. Actually, it's the energy company EVN from Lower Austria, where I stayed for another 8-9 years. After which I founded my own company. Talent Business Incubator Step Up. I still have contacts and I work for Austrian companies and also for other foreign companies in the country. And of course, I have some personal relationships and friends in Graz, for example, the family of Professor Steiner, Mr. Josef Kersch, and some others. And I'm therefore happy to present this in front of the Styrian IT sector or representatives. As I mentioned, I founded my company Step Up 8 years ago, and that's a consultancy company for business development. We also help foreign and Macedonian companies in export and access to market support, and we also help them to build their structures, so in organizational development, and we also do HR services. As Lisa already mentioned, I'm currently president of the Macedonian HR Association. I'm one of the founders, and that was in 2009 that we founded our association, and currently I serve as a board member in the European Association of People Management, which is kind of gathering all the European countries. And I used to also serve as vice president of the Employers Association of Macedonia. I was part of the National Economic Social Council and many other functions. I also have or help universities as well. I serve as member of or president of board of trustees at several universities in the country. And I also work as a consultant for Alexander Hughes, which is executive search company based in Paris, but it's a multinational. And finally, what I do and what we as a company can serve for our clients, it's consultancy in business and management. I also myself work as a trainer, mentor, executive coach, and I'm also a passionate bridge player in case someone among you really likes to play bridge. Talking about what I will present to you this morning is shortly presented in this slide where you can see I will do some introduction about the national economy, about the labor market and the ICT sector. I will show you some market data, basically business data about qualified staff, salaries, universities. In the IT sector, I will show you also some notable trends in the ICT sector in the country, and also I will show you several case studies of successful Macedonian IT companies. Talking about the country itself has around 2 million people and a GDP of around 14 billion. The unemployment rate is a little bit over 13%, and the inflation rate has come down in the past year to 3.6. It was much higher as also in the other countries. Even 2 years ago, it went up to 20% in certain times. The country itself finds itself in the process of EU accession, which is unfortunately still delayed. Namely, we had as a country a long time name dispute which lasted almost 30 years with Greece, which somehow has been resolved with agreement. But currently, Bulgaria vetoes the start of the negotiations, so we still didn't manage to start the negotiations to access the European Union. Germany is the biggest foreign investor, and most of the German companies have invested heavily in the automotive sector through factories in the free industrial zones. But Austria is also among the top investors. These are data when I served for the Austrian Economic Chamber. There were many investments there, and of course, the biggest investment was actually EVN, where I used to work then afterwards. Then I would like to mention the workforce immigration, which has a long tradition, let's say for a couple of centuries. But it kind of became more severe due to this long-lasting transition process of more than 30 years when we basically changed our society towards market economy. The country nowadays copes with the brain drain of really young, good qualified talents, and this trend has been very present in the past 5 to 10 years. The Austrian image is also very positive among the population, because Austria was somehow always supporting our EU integration, and there's always have been really good economic relations. Therefore, Austria has also been preferred as a target for Gastarbeit. But many of the young people nowadays decide really to permanently leave the country, and therefore, especially the Northern American countries, as USA and Canada, also Australia is a destination, and many West and North European countries as well. And also many foreign companies are trying to position themselves in the country through presenting their employer brands as well. One last thing about the political and economic prospect is that 2024 is an electoral year for the Macedonian parliament, and the elections are to happen in April and May, and also presidential elections will happen at the same time. Few comments on the labor market and talent developments. Macedonia used to have very high unemployment rate, which went to about more than 30%, and that was like that maybe until 2012, 13, 14. But then suddenly the trends have changed. The structural unemployment got reduced. Also, the foreign investments helped a lot. So that the current unemployment rate is down to 13%. But I would say even that these 13% are not real, because basically those are cases who just apply at the agency to get certain benefits from the state. And of course, this was the reason why many fluctuations of people, of workforce started. So nowadays, the people are really changing their workplaces or much more often than before. Having in mind that the country offers much lower labor costs, we have many foreign companies that invest in the country, and it is not only in the industrial sector, but also there are companies who give outsourcing services, for example, ICT services or customer centers or business process support companies. Also, many recruitment companies open their subsidiaries in the country. In addition to that, there are many seasonal immigrants, especially in the tourism and agricultural sector, that mostly move in the neighboring countries of the region, in the South European region. I have to say that the state university, St. Cyril and Methodius, which is the oldest university in the country, still produces candidates with competitive skills, especially in the technical professions. And on the other hand, there is still lack of practical knowledge, which the students can gain during their studies. And also there are certain technical schools from the secondary education where the German model of dual education combined with practical work in companies is at the time being implemented, and also the teaching programs are getting adjusted to the needs, I would say, of the industry in the country and the employers. All the young people, I would say, they all speak English and they are very fluent. It's probably because of the maybe the skills of the people to be flexible. Therefore, they, aside of English, they can speak also many other foreign languages. Among them, German is number 2 in the country. And I would also say that the Macedonians in general are considered as skilled, disciplined, and good workers. And therefore, when they leave the country, actually, they are very well valued as Gastarbeiters. Coming to the ICT sector, I have several data which can show you that there is a growth in this sector, probably as in all other countries in the region. So we can see a growth in revenues of 71% in the last 3 years, which is really, really high. And the highest growth is seen basically in software and IT services, which is becoming the largest segment of the ICT market. The IT workforce, as I already have mentioned, has excellent knowledge of English, and many of them work as freelancers also worldwide. There is huge potential for growth and development also of the Macedonian economy on the side of ICT. So ICT really brings a lot to the Macedonian economy. I know Christoph also mentioned similar data for Serbia, which is true also for our country. That means that the ICT is becoming a very important part of the total GDP in the country. All the major companies, global companies as Microsoft, Cisco, Oracle, Dell, and so on, they are all present either through their own subsidiaries or representative offices in the country. And also there are many companies in the ICT sector which are export-oriented. In terms of telecommunications or communication technologies, it's Deutsche Telekom and A1, the Austrian A1, who are market leaders, and they have more than 95% of the market to be all, both together in the country. I will come with several statistics, and here you can see really in the ICT sector what are the trends. So you will see that the companies, for example, from 2019 till 2022 have risen from 220 around to 2,850, which is the growth from 21 to 22 is around 16%. Also, the number of employees from 15,000 in 2019 is nowadays more than 20,000 employees in the sector. The revenues have already also risen to 1.28 billion. And just from the last year, it's a growth of 37%. The exports have risen also, even doubled from 2019 to 2022 to 470 million euros. I have given you also some costs for the employees in total. That means all the gross salaries and the costs that are spent on the employees are around 346 million euros, which is somewhere around 1/4 from the total revenues. So around 25% you are paying for the personnel, and in the previous years it was even less. And finally, there was also a question for Serbia. You can see here the average gross salary for the IT people, which has risen to 2,260 euros a month. And I really have to say here that in the past year, that means in 2023, the salaries have risen also with substantially, I would say, especially due to the higher inflation in the previous years. I have decided to show you also one slide where you can see different positions in IT. For example, Java programmer, software engineer, and so on and so on. You will see this slide probably in the handouts afterwards. And you can see I'm talking here about the net salaries. And you should calculate around 40% more to come to the gross salary, let's say, of the people. And you will see that they go from around 1,000 for database administrator or less than 1,000 euros to some 1,830 euros for Java programmer. But this is also, you also have to take into account that these are average salaries. Of course, for the seniors, you have to pay more. For the juniors, you pay less. Talking about the skilled workforce, how these are produced in the country, I have found 11 universities that do have curriculums or programs for IT. And the predominant one is the Faculty of Computer Science and Engineering, which is in Skopje, part of the state university. So they enroll more than 1,000. Last year in 2023, it was 1,100 students a year. And this, by all means, is enrolling more than all the others together. But I have to, in terms of quality, I have to say that also the Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Information Technologies, which is also part of the State University in Skopje, and the University St. Kliment Ohridski, which is in Bitola, I would even mention University Goce Delchev, which is in Štip. They come up with good IT specialists, and also many other private universities are touching up this part of the market, I would say. Aside of the universities, there are lots of IT academies. I have mentioned here 4, which are the biggest probably, and you can see that they enroll around 5,000 candidates within their programs, which more or less are 1 year or 2 years long, in order to achieve a certain certificate. What are the notable trends? The startups are on the rise, and ICT startups make the largest part of the startup scene. They all get state support through the Fund of Innovations and Technology Development, which is kind of supporting really this startup scene and the innovation in the country. There are some examples, for example, Air Care or AI-assisted cancer detection test, or HeyReach, it was before Howitzer, are some of the examples. The software services also grow, and they have reached almost 50% of the whole revenues in the ICT sector. And among them, I would just point out the banking services, automation and digitization of processes, HR softwares, ERP solutions, and also the ICT outsourcing is significant. The Macedonian companies have customers in more than 37 countries in Europe, North America, or Middle East, Far East, and Australia. The freelance is very in, I would say, among the young people and the Macedonian IT workforce. So there are many freelancers who really work worldwide. And aside of that, somehow the country becomes a wishful destination for digital nomads because of the lower living costs. There are foreigners who come to the country and work from here. And finally, my last part of the presentation are several cases I would like to show. For example, the company Kudos, who has a specific instrument for chat search. It's a powerful search engine for chat applications like Slack and Microsoft Teams. Then I would like to mention VoxPal. They have a voice recognition platform that enables businesses to add voice-controlled features to their website and applications. Codaxy, well, they have a code generator, which is a tool for generating code snippets and templates for various programming languages. Puzzle is a cloud-based platform for building and hosting websites and web applications, and their platform provides developers with tools and infrastructure to easily create and deploy scalable and secure web solutions. And finally, Sourcix. Well, Sourcix is active in the healthcare industry, and they have related products, which includes also the Open MRS, an open source electronic medical record system, which is used by healthcare organizations around the world. And their products have made significant contributions to improving healthcare delivery and patient outcomes globally. And I will finish my presentation with a big thank you to you for your attention. These are the data where you can reach us whenever you have any inquiries or any things that are related to the Macedonian ICT sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot, Darko, for this interesting insights. Are there any questions? If not, then I will directly hand over to Alexander. Yeah, we're looking forward to your presentation. Please enlighten us on the chances in the IT sector in Montenegro and on current developments.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for this opportunity, and hi to everyone. I'll just share my presentation right now, and please tell me if you can see it. Is it there?
Yes.
So I was really amazed by the presentation of the previous speakers. That it gives great insights on the market. I have decided to use a different approach to present opportunities and the potentials of the Montenegrin market, and I also hope that it will be at least as interesting as it was as the two previous were. So. I'll just make the overview of the structure that we have today when it comes to Montenegrin market. So we have I'll present a market at a glance. So ICT Cortex conducts market analysis every year in the March, because that's the period when the final reports are submitted by the companies to the chamber, and the Chamber of Commerce has the data we can use to make some kind of analysis, and we make this analysis almost 4 years in a row, made it, and we plan to do it for 2023 in the March this year. So we will have more, up-to-date data by the March. Right now we have it for 2022, and I'll present it after this presentation. I'll send you also, if you need a market analysis that we have prepared for 2022, and you will have this data. Or we can also speak in March and see if you need it when we have a new report done. And then I'll just make a brief introduction of ICT Cortex and what we are doing, who are our members, and what we are striving to achieve, which is, I think, important also for this meeting. And then I'll just outline a few prospects for collaboration and how I see it. And I would really love to hear more from you on this regard. And if you have any other ideas to add to it, it would be, I think, of great value for us and for, I hope, you as well. So when it comes to market at a glance, I'll try to present it to a few figures. These are total revenue, net results, which means profit that our companies, ICT companies in Montenegro, made in the previous 4 years, and also the number of employees and how it changed over the time, and also the number of ICT companies that we have here in the market present. So when it comes to revenue, let's say from 2021 to 2022, the total revenue had risen for 23%, which means from 490 million euros to 600 million euros in revenue in total of the whole ICT sector, which means IT service and products, which means telecommunications, and also trade in the computer equipment. And yeah, here are the stats. So you can see how it went over the period of 4 years from 2009.
Alexander, sorry to interrupt, but it cuts the presentation on top and on the bottom somehow.
It cuts it a lot or just a bit? Just a second. Is it any better right now?
No.
That's really sad.
Because you don't see the numbers under the total revenue and net result and everything, but
yeah, maybe we can make it present. Oh, just a second. Maybe I can just present it that way. Just a second. I don't know if it's any better if I do it this way.
It's okay, I would say. I mean, we can see it, but it's small, but okay. We see everything.
Maybe you should just focus on what I'm speaking then and see these charts, because you know it's that in the end no one will remember the exact numbers, the picture and the trends and the idea how everything goes will something that will stay in the memory. So I'll try to give you this kind of image of the market. So when it comes to total revenue, it has risen from 2019 to 2022 for 41%, which is a huge leap for the whole industry. And only for 1 year, it has risen for 22%, which is more important, I think, in this regard. So it shows, just to mention, it shows, yeah, that the sector as a whole is vivid. It has a continual growth, and I would say it has a good perspective. When you go into the structure of the growth, you see that telecommunications are pretty much stable over the time, and their share in the total growth doesn't change. So they over the year they make almost the same as they did in every year. As you can see, this is this blue area, but the IT service and products, they have more impact. This is this red graph that you can see here, and also which is obvious and the logic as a consequence, I would say, that the industry and the trade of the computer equipment also has risen in the same period, but not with the same pace. So that the biggest pace of the biggest rates of growth is related to IT products and services in Montenegro. And when you just turn it into a profit or net results, how we want to, yeah, which is, I would say, more important, then you see that the difference is even bigger, that telecommunications have made less, you know, like you see, or they stayed at the previous level in terms of profit and net results, but the IT sector have made great leaps in that regard and made huge profits over the past 4 years. So if industry as a whole has made 36 million euros in 2019, then in 2022 the industry as a whole almost doubled the total profit, and then made 72 million or almost 73 million euros net profit for these 4-year periods. It will be really interesting to see what happened in 2023, because this year was a kind of kind of a crisis year, a year of a crisis for many companies. And I think that presentations of the previous speakers has shown these kind of trends that went in the previous years, especially with these layoffs that happen in the Western markets and so on, since these are mainly markets where our companies work on. And then also in the number of, when you look at the number of employees and the number of companies that we have here in Montenegro, it also changed over the time. So in a way that it rapidly have risen, and also these rates are the most obvious in the sector of IT services and products. So this is this red part. So when it comes to number of employees, only for 1 year, from 2021 to 2022, it has risen 31%. And if you take the whole 4-year period and compare the 2019 to 2022, it's almost 70% growth for a number of employees, which is a lot. So now we have 6,000. You know, I just want to stress out that I didn't make this kind of introduction of the main figures of the Montenegrin economy, but please have in mind that Montenegro is quite a small country with only 600,000 people, which is the total population of a country, and all these figures are quite, you know, like quite, even if they're small, which you see, this is 6,000 people in the ICT sector as of 2022 that we had. It is a huge leap for us because it's 70% growth, but yeah, it's still pretty small number if you compare even to regional countries and the number of employees they have, because you know they sometimes in one company you can find either 2,000 employees, even in Serbia or Bosnia Herzegowina you can find 2,000 companies with 2,000 employees or 1,000, which is also huge. Yeah. That makes maybe the environment in Montenegro in terms of competition more favorable for domestic as well as for foreign players that want to establish their legal representatives here and try to work on it. So when it comes to number of companies, it has also risen, and you can see it here. You know, it could be said that this rise of the number of companies is somehow related to the crisis that we had globally, and many foreign companies from Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and Turkey, which is surprising. They have changed their tax policy, and many companies from Turkey have established their legal entities here. We also have this detailed information on how many companies from which side and how many, you know, like foreign citizens have established companies in Montenegro. You can find it in a detailed report that I'll send it to you, but right now I think it won't give any value to this presentation. But if you look over the period of 4 years, I mean, from 2019 to 2022, the number of companies registered in Montenegro, IT companies registered in Montenegro, have risen for 72%, which is a lot, which is huge. So this is a kind of a macro overview. And now I'd like to go more into details and to see, you know, how each branch of the industry behaved. So IT products and services, which is something that is the of our biggest interest, and telecommunications, trade in equipment, and computer equipment. So if you look at the IT products and services, then as we mentioned, you can see a rise in total revenue for 46% from 2021 to 2022, and over the period of 4 years, it's a rise. It's of 174%, which is enormous rise. And if you just compare the net results of these companies for that period, I mean, from 2019 to 2022, the figure that we get is 450% a leap, you know, like a difference in net profit that these companies has made, which is huge, and it shows how much potential this industry brings to the table and brings to the economic development of Montenegro. When it comes to number of employees, it's also the most obvious in the area of IT products and services, and you can see it here. It's like so only for 1 year, the number of employees has become bigger for 60%, and over the period of 4 years, it's 161%. Yeah, number of companies also has changed, and the main point here is that even if we look at the industry as a whole, and we see telecommunications services and products, and we see these companies who are doing trade in computer equipment, the only serious rise in terms of profit, in terms of revenue, in terms of number of employees, in terms of number of companies that we have here is actually made in the branch of IT services and products. When it comes to telecommunications, as I mentioned, they have made almost the same results or even worse. So over the period of 4 years, they made less profit than they in 2022 than they have made it in 2019, which is quite interesting. Yeah. Then if we look at telecommunication, number of employees also almost stayed the same over this 5 years period. Actually, it has risen for 13%, but everything else almost stayed the same in telecommunications. The same case is in the trade in computer equipment, which with a slightly difference where we can see some growth, but it is usually related to the IT services and products, because as we have more companies who are doing IT services and products, then we have more need for this kind of equipment, computer equipment for these companies and their employees. So that's why actually they have also had some kind of rise in their revenues and so on. And these are the figures for the number of employees and the number of companies in this branch. In the end, I just want to just a second. It's not the end of presentation, but the end of the part that is related to market analysis and the glance. You can see some also results of analysis that we have conducted in a survey way. So the improvements that could be made in the market are usually related to that we can have some kind of a provider for or payment processor provider, which we don't have right now till this day, which is a huge problem for our companies when it comes to charging their services and so on. So we are right now, as a country, negotiating with the PayPal the terms for them to come to Montenegro and to offer their services in Montenegro. And it will ease the life of many of our companies as well as for freelancers, and it will change a kind of a landscape in Montenegro. But these negotiations are just going on right now. The total number of respondents, 82% intend for their employees to spend a certain portion of their time developing new products. This is a general trend in the IT service industry, where every company that does services, as well as in Montenegro, this is the dominant, I would say, the dominant case that many companies in the industry are doing, are developing softwares for clients from Europe, from USA, and abroad. This is this kind of outsource model of the services. They are striving to create their own products and to diversify their portfolio so they can be more sustainable. This is the kind of trend that we actually see, and this survey has shown it. And in the next 3 years, 55% of them plan to create a spin-off and startups. 87% of them plan to create new jobs in the next 3 years, which means that they will create around 700 new job positions. And I think it's quite realistic, because we have new vacancies opening up here every day in our company members, and we are even looking for a work power from abroad, trying to find cheap power from destinations like India, Pakistan, and so on, so that we can satisfy the needs that we have for the market, because as I already mentioned, our companies are mainly oriented to the Western markets. So just a second, out of the total number of the companies, 12% did not allocate funds for innovation. Among the other companies, an average of 20% of revenue is directed towards innovations. Every fifth company allocated 30% or more of its revenues to innovation. So this is this figure shows this kind of efforts that they invest in trying to diversify their portfolio and trying to make their own products that can make them self-sustainable. And the last figure here that you can see is also the share our ICT industry made in total export of Montenegro. So the export of IT services and products and solutions and equipment in the total export of Montenegro participates with around 21%, which is also a lot, and makes sense for the government and for other officials to pay more attention to this and to find incentives that will help this industry grow, which they did in some way. And when it comes to business environment and the limitation factors that we have on the ground, many actually we did this kind of survey for on the sample of 70 companies, and these are the response that we have got. The main limitation is actually limited availability of suitable new personnel. So we have only 3 universities here in Montenegro, one of which is a state university, 2 of which are private universities, and they really struggle to produce enough staff for the market needs. And this is a great, it's a struggle everywhere in the world, but it's really really obvious here in Montenegro. And no one who is looking for, I would say, to open up legal representative in Montenegro is no one is expecting to find people. It will be quite difficult because you will have to compete with either domestic companies, and this is not well seen here, or you will have to compete with foreign companies that are operating here who have already educated some portion of the of staff. And this is the way how you can gain. This is active headhunting. That's the only option if you're looking for a talent in Montenegro. And this is, I would say, a difficult way to finding a talent. And noticing this kind of market, let's say, failure or educational system failure, better to say, we have conducted and we have organized our own Cortex Academy, through which our companies are trying to educate new professional staff. And every year we have around 1,000 new students enrolled into our program that lasts for 9 months. And through this period of 9 months, we try to educate new junior developers who will be able to work for our companies, because we see that our universities are definitely struggling to catch up with the modern trends. They're struggling to catch up with to educate enough people. So we took this part as a companies and as a cluster, took it part on ourselves. So we have our own educational programs, we have our own internship practices, and so on. Also limited demand in the local market is another limitation for the growth of the sector. That's why the second focus of our cluster is internationalization, and that's why we try to offer our companies the possibility to travel to different countries and to establish partnership relationships. That's the way how we actually met Lisa last year in October. We have visited Austria, we have organized B2B and matchmaking events, and this is the way how we help them try to find new opportunities on different markets. Rising labor costs. I won't say that Montenegro is the cheapest destination you can find the labor force. It's not, but if you're looking for some other qualities, and it's still, I would say, compared to the other, even to the region, it's still competitive. Let's be clear on that. Our hourly rates for developers, let's say, in average are around 50 euros per hour, which is 2 or 3 times lower than what is the European average. Like in Europe, you usually find it that it's 100 or 150 per hour hourly rate for developers. In Montenegro, it's 50 euros per hour, and I won't say that it's competitive in a way that you can use it as a selling point for your internationalization strategy or something like that. It's not competitive in that way, but when it comes to what Christoph said, there is no cultural gap, there is no this kind of time zone problems and so on. And we also have a kind of very professional stuff and the project management, which makes a bit difference than what you can find for a cheaper price. So the project management maybe differentiate our companies in a way that makes foreign clients willing to work with us. And you can see also some other problems that are mentioned here. This is unfair competition or dumping, price dumping, regulatory framework, loss of existing personnel, corruption also mentioned here, and some other problems that our businesses face. We have tried to solve them as a cluster, but as I mentioned, in our focus are these two: the lack of professional staff and a lack of or limited demand in the local market, trying to compensate it with international. And when it comes to ICT Cortex, I'll just make a brief remarks on our goals, members, and projects that we have. So we are a cluster of information technologies, innovation, education, design, and technology development in Montenegro, founded in 2021. Right now we have 45 company members, and we started with 11 of them. So we have over 1,000 IT experts, and we can say that we represent around 60% of total Montenegrin IT industry as a whole, serving hundreds of clients domestically and internationally. And in numbers also, this is numbers of our company members, number of employees, number of study visits that we organized, partners, and so on. Less important. So as I mentioned, the goals that brought us together are firstly to make some kind of platform on which our companies could communicate and collaborate, because we didn't have it. Our companies were separated, and now with the cluster, they have a kind of platform where they meet regularly on the monthly and the weekly basis, even in some way, and then communicate, share their problems, and that's how they create a kind of synergy. The second goal we have is trying to educate new and improve the knowledge of and retention of existing personnel. This is the second goal why we organized. And the third one is internationalization and strengthening of the export potential through joint projects and connections with the foreign organizations. Others are secondary goals as we define them, and these are strengthening innovation and competitiveness of the cluster member companies, digital transformation of society, and social responsibility. But these three are primarily goals. When it comes to our business model, we are halfly supported by government. 40% of our finances comes from membership contribution and 10% from the EU funds. And this is a kind of a map of a membership map where you can see we have divided them into solution providers on the left side and service providers on the right side. And also in this OSIS of vertical OSIS, you can see how much revenue they make on a yearly basis. So these are companies that make over 1 million or 500K a year on a yearly basis. And as you could probably notice, that the majority of them are service providers, even if we have some companies who are making their own products and trying to market them also internationally or domestically. We're trying to position ourselves as a cluster, as a digital service and solution provider that will offer their services from discovery phase and beyond until the final product. And this is as a tech partner in Montenegro. These are some of the services they focus on, but not limited to. Probably this is custom software development, web development, mobile app development, UX, UI, and QA testing. Industries we have expertise in. Although we are in industry agnostics, and it's quite difficult to say for IT companies that they specialize in some industry. So far, we had some, I would say, substantial references in these areas for our companies. When it comes to projects that we have implemented in the past, this is the most important one. This is the way how we compete with the huge salaries that are offered by other companies. So we offer this kind of retention program to our companies. We offer them a housing or apartments under really favorable conditions and interest rates, and in return they have to they are deciding or signing agreement to stay in our companies for a certain period, let's say from 2 to 5 years, depending on the benefits they gain. In this year, in 2024, within our internationalization goals, we plan to visit 8 countries. 6 of them are in Europe, 1 of them is Saudi Arabia, and 1 is USA. And yeah, these study visits prove to be really of a value for our cluster members, and that's something that we organize regularly. Yeah, when it comes, this is our last slide, and when these are the collaboration models that I have outlined here. These are access to market, outsourcing, and EU projects. When it comes to access to market, I think that from Montenegro to Austria and vice versa, we can offer to each other some kind of market insights, other interesting navigating services. We can work in common projects on both markets, and it can be done in many different ways. The second direction could be outsourcing, which is Austrian companies can hire Montenegrin IT companies, because hourly rates, as I already mentioned, are 2 or 3 times higher in Dutch region than in Montenegro. And we can also do some EU projects together, because we have a great experience in doing so with regional companies, from companies from Romania, Italy, Serbia, Bosnia. I think it can work with Austrian companies. There are many different opportunities. And yeah, that's it. Or you can see something else. It would be interesting to hear from you. That's enough from me, I think. That's all. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Alexander. Are there questions or inputs for discussion maybe? If not, we have not so much time left, so I suggest we go forward with our last speaker and then make a round of questions and discussions and reviews. So last but not least, we're looking forward to your insights, Bojan, on the thriving IT sector in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Thank you, Lisa. Firstly, for this kind of opportunity to present the ICT sector in Bosnia and Herzegovina and to participate in this event. I hope you see my presentation screen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to say something for intro about me, I have worked for the last 10 years as Enterprise Europe Network Coordinator, and therefore I have some experience with collaboration with the companies in Austria, also in ICT sector, but in most cases we connected ICT sector with others. We tried our best to apply ICT sector in others. Also, I worked for 4 years at the Uni Maribor, and having in mind it's close to Graz, let's say every weekend I was in Graz. Related to the presentation, I will use one document about this sector. I hope you see the screen. Okay, quite similar to other countries, ICT is an emerging sector in the country with the competitive cost environment. Also, we have a quite decent ICT infrastructure and quite a big number of small ICT companies. But I would like to say our biggest advantage when we talk about the region, Bosnia is closest to Austria. If you decide to collaborate with the companies, it will be no problem to come here. At this graph, you can see major 5 cities in the country, from Banja Luka to Mostar. And in different color are marked companies which gravitate to centers: Banja Luka, Zenica, Tuzla, Sarajevo, and Mostar. and as you see, most ICT companies are located in Sarajevo. But if you choose to collaborate or work in some smaller city, for example in Banja Luka, you have some other advantages. For example, salaries, gross salaries of ICT experts are quite lower. Further key strengths of working in Bosnia and Herzegovina, as in other countries in the Western Balkan region, you will have a highly qualified workforce. Also, our people are possess quite a decent knowledge in foreign languages, English, German as well. Also, for ICT companies, small ICT companies, it is important to have a great pool of junior candidates, and having in mind that we have so many universities in the countries, you have an opportunity to use them and to develop based on your needs. Also, other cost competitive advantages, not just for the ICT sector, but also for some others. I wouldn't go in details about gross salaries per position from junior account, payroll specialist. They are different, especially if you take a look more in details in per cities. But I would say that today average salary of the ICT specialist is around 2,500 euros. That's something in average. Data are presented at this table. If you need more information, I can provide you detail from major cities for every specific position. But for today's presentation, I would like to say more about our DIH Onyx or ICT cluster. Similar like Cortex, we are a provider of digital solutions and innovation in the country. Our cluster gathers 28 companies. More information about specific companies you can find at the web page onyx.digital section catalog of experts. Website is mostly based on the English language, but also most of the sections are translated to the German, and you can look for some specific companies. In general, cluster business model is based on the quadruple helix approach. That's quite important for us. We connect business sector, academia, public sector, and society. And that's especially important for the network of European digital innovation hubs. Probably you are familiar with the EDHs in Austria. We already had collaboration with EDIH Zud, which operates in the Styria region. And in the very beginning of our work, they provided support to our consortium to define our services and develop our business model. EDH consortium is composed of 6 partners: DIH Onyx ICT cluster, 2 universities, Banja Luka i Sarajevo, biggest telecom operator in the country, Entel, Lanaco company, and our regional agency which works with the ICT services. Also, our work is strongly supported by our regional and national authorities. For public organization and private organization which work with EU-funded projects, We have over 15 years of experience on COSME, Horizon, Erasmus, Interreg, etc., various EU-funded projects. Thematic sectors, based on our sectorial strategy, we are focused on 5 sectors: agri-food, manufacturing, but within these manufacturing sectors, there are various subsectors: metal, wood, etc., financial, tourism, and construction. And as I mentioned, our activities are based on our regional sectorial strategies and SME development strategies. From these slides, you can already see that our activities are mainly focused to the work with SMEs, small and medium enterprises. Activities, opportunities for collaboration. I divided this section in 3 groups. Firstly, digital transformation. In this section, we talk about commercial ICT services, where our experts and cluster companies work on some concrete commercial projects, from some basic creation of customized website, web pages, application, to some more complex with the use ICT, some thermal cameras, and so on. Second group of activities is related to international collaboration. We talk about EU-funded projects. I already said that we have quite vivid experience in this area. And the third group of activities is related to, we call it support services, but they are related to consultancy, where we figure out that it is not enough to provide some technical support. With our clients, we work a lot of development of business models, internationalization, and so on. And in many cases, we do our best to connect access to finance with technical solutions. At this slide, you can see our profile created within Enterprise Europe network. Most of us probably know this is the biggest, not just European, but biggest network for business collaboration in the world. Also in Austria, I think every big city has a contact point, also in Graz. At this web page, you can find more information about local contact points in Austria, but also in Bosnia Herzegowina and other Western Balkan countries. In the slide, it's mentioned. There are mentioned some of the basic activities provided by our clients, but more information you can find if you search our profile at within the website of the Enterprise Europe network. Expected role of our partner. What do we offer to the partners? As I mentioned, we provide different kind of solution in ICT, but also in a consultancy. There are mentioned 3 companies from Austria. Anton Par, probably you know, one of the biggest company in Graz. Also 2 companies from Vienna, Network and Digital, and all the companies have branch offices in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in north part of the country. Those client companies are not dominantly from the ICT sector, but that's what I wanted to say, that we work on this multidisciplinary approach. We do not collaborate only with the ICT companies, we also provide the solution to companies from other sectors. On the other side, expected role of the partner, what do we need? in this part, I would say just before this webinar, I had a meeting with one partner, sorry, from Vienna. It's company ATIT, and they provide to our clients know-how in the field of ICT. More concretely, in Bosnia Herzegovina, they provide the ICT solution for the companies in automotive sector. They are specialized for warehouses or stocks. That's a big issue for the automotive sector, and they provide to our clients or companies know-how in this field. And I can say that based on our experience, partners from Austria possess quite bigger, higher, or more experience in the ICT sector, and they can provide that knowledge to our clients on a commercial base. But also in these parts, I would like to mention universities and institutions, organizations, which also provide knowledge and know-how, like our colleagues like LISA. I would mention the Chamber of Commerce of Austria, University of Graz, already mentioned DIH ZUD. In the previous period, we had quite a fruitful collaboration with the organization like this one. You can recognize my face on those pictures. That small guy near the banner, in front of banner, where we collaborated with the companies from Austria, mostly in metal, wood, food sector. But as I already mentioned, at these events, we had partners from ICT sector which searched for clients or partners in mostly manufacturing companies. And the last slide, as also my colleague from Montenegro mentioned, as Cortex, we already work a lot on EU-funded projects with the partners from Austria. I would mention only two groups of EU programs, Horizon and Interreg. Just 1 month ago, we started two big Interreg projects, RISE, with the budget 2.5 million euros. This project is related to smart villages. I would say in a more easy way, use of ICT in the sector of agri-food, and our partner from Austria is Burgenland Business Agency. A second project also started from 1st of January this year is C-Hub, Circular Innovation Hub, use of ICT. That's our role in the sector of renewable energy, and our partner is Carinthia University of Applied Science. Also, we are in the process of implementation on many Horizon projects, and this implementation of EU-funded projects provide to us also knowledge, but also opportunity to meet ICT companies from Austria and to connect them with our clients in Bosnia and Herzegovina. You can find my email address, also website of our ICT cluster, Digital Innovation Hub, Onyx. Also, you can follow us at social media. If you have if you need any concrete information about ICT sector, about salaries, taxes, or condition for establishing a branch office or something similar, you can email me, and I will do my best to answer to your question. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bojan, and thanks to everybody else for sharing your expertise and your knowledge with us. I hope that our participants are not too overwhelmed by all the input that was given, but I hope everything was valuable and it helped you gain an insight into this diverse and dynamic region concerning the IT sector. Now it's really time to answer your questions. So please, you can either unmute yourself or post your questions into the chat. We're looking forward to your individual questions.
If there are no questions, I would like to ask Lisa maybe to mention our follow-up event that will be organized in February. I think that would be useful for the participants.
Yes, definitely. That was my plan for later on, but maybe yes, of course. Genau, ich würde es jetzt einfach gerne wieder auf Deutsch machen für die Teilnehmerinnen. Und dann zeige ich auch gleich die nächste Folie hier. Also wenn Sie das Webinar und die Chancen in der Region auch überzeugt haben, lade ich Sie natürlich herzlich für all jene, die noch nicht angemeldet sind, zu unserer Präsenzveranstaltung am 27.02. nach Graz ein. Es findet in der Wirtschaftskammer Steiermark statt. Und Sie haben hier die Möglichkeit, nach Ihrem individuellen Bedarf gescoutete IT-Dienstleisterinnen zu persönlichen Gesprächen zu treffen. Dafür einfach gerne den QR-Code scannen, diese Firmenabfrage ausfüllen und wir finden dann die richtigen Partner für Sie vor Ort. Es werden eben, also wir schauen, dass aus wirklich jeder Region jemand dabei sein wird. Unser Partner vor Ort, der das Koordiniert unterstützt, ist Christoph Berndt, eben von KP Advisory. Also ich lade Sie wirklich alle herzlich ein, die Chance zu nutzen und dabei zu sein. Das Event findet von 10 bis 14 Uhr statt. Informationen dazu gibt es natürlich auch auf unserer Homepage. Gerne vorbeischauen. Wie gesagt, das ist Event eben heute ist ein Kombi-Event mit dem Webinar. Also hier nochmal die Einladung an Sie. Genau, abschließend, wenn es wirklich keine Fragen mehr gibt, hätte ich noch ein paar Veranstaltungstipps für Sie generell von uns im ICS. Also am Tag nach der tollen Veranstaltung am 27. gibt es ein Webinar zum Arbeitsrecht in Polen, weil Polen auch eines unserer Fokusländer ist. Es wird allerdings vom Wirtschaftscenter in Warschau veranstaltet. Am 5.3. findet bei uns ein Ukraine Roundtable statt. Auch ein spannendes Thema, da Ukraine und Russland auch ein ständiges Fokusgebiet im ICS sind. Und von 9. bis 16.3. dann unsere große steirische Wirtschaftsreise nach Indien, nach Bengaluru und Neu-Delhi, weil Indien gerade dieses Jahr unser neuestes Fokusland ist, das wir gestartet haben. Und am 15.04. vielleicht auch noch spannend für alle USA-Liebhaber eine Automotive-Reise, auch gemeinsam mit dem Außenwirtschaftscenter vor Ort. Ja, dann danke ich allen Teilnehmerinnen und Teilnehmern nochmal herzlich für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Schön, dass Sie bei uns waren und bei uns geblieben sind. Und wenn Sie das Thema sehr interessiert hat, kann ich nur nochmal die Einladung für den 27.02. aussprechen. Und ich freue mich, wenn ich Sie wieder bei einer unserer anderen Veranstaltungen begrüßen darf. Vielen Dank und danke nochmal an unsere Speaker. Thank you to our speakers and guests.
Danke an dich, Lisa.
Danke.
Thank you, Lisa.
Danke. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.